no one would notice. Just a quiet night at a Coldplay concert, lights dimmed, music blaring, tens of thousands of fans. No one would care about one man and one woman in the crowd, right? Wrong. Because when the camera landed on them, everything changed. The man? Andy Byron, CEO of a rising tech company called Astronomer. The woman wrapped around his arm like Dr. Strange's cloak? Not his wife. Not even close. Seconds later, the internet exploded. What was meant to be a romantic night turned into one of the most embarrassing public exposures in recent corporate history. Twitter detectives, Reddit sleuths, and TikTok gossipers did what they do best and uncovered a tangled web of lies, office politics, and one very suspicious HR department. This isn't just a cheating scandal. It's the kind of viral mess that destroys careers, families, and reputations overnight. And the crazy part? It all started with a Coldplay song. Let's get into it. The concert was electric. Coldplay, one of the world's biggest bands, performing live under the stars. Couples were swaying, fans were singing along, and the energy in the stadium was pure magic. Then, boom, the Jumbotron zooms in on a couple in the crowd. Just another cute moment, right? A sweet kiss cam shot, something to make the audience smile. But this one? It didn't go down like that. The man's reaction was instant panic. He drops like he's dodging a bullet, practically collapsing into his seat like he's just been sniped. The woman beside him spins around like she's trying to disappear into thin air. No kiss, no wave, no smile. Just sheer, awkward horror. Even Coldplay's lead singer Chris Martin noticed. He chuckled into the mic, joking, either they're having an affair or they're just really shy. Turns out, he was right the first time, because the internet had just witnessed the exact moment a powerful CEO's double life started to unravel. Within hours, the clip was everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and while most people were laughing at the awkward Jumbotron moment, a few curious viewers looked closer. Who was this guy, and why did he look like he'd seen a ghost? It didn't take long. The man in the video was identified as Andy Byron, the CEO of a tech company called Astronomer, a relatively low-profile exec until now. Married, public-facing, a guy who built his image around innovation, leadership, and all that corporate family values talk. The woman next to him? Kristen Cabot, Astronomer's chief people officer. That's right, head of HR. Not his wife, not his assistant, his own company's HR boss, tangled up in what looked very much like a romantic moment gone very, very public. And no, this wasn't some innocent company outing. This wasn't a team-building event. Andy wasn't leaning over to whisper about Q3 numbers. He had his arm around her like they were in their own Coldplay music video. They weren't just close, they were wrapped around each other. That's when things really started spiraling. Because if Andy Byron was cheating on his wife, it wasn't just personal, it was professional. He wasn't just messing around, he was doing it with someone who reports directly to him, at a Coldplay concert, on camera. And the internet was just getting started. Once names were matched to faces, the internet did what it does best: investigate, amplify, and demolish. People started digging fast. Reddit threads popped up overnight, breaking down everything. Kristen Cabot's LinkedIn, Andy's marriage, photos of his family, even screenshots from his company's core values page about integrity and trust. It was like a digital crime scene, and every tweet was another piece of evidence. TikTok users stitched the concert footage with old interview clips of Andy talking about company culture. Twitter users joked that this was the most high-profile HR violation they'd ever seen. Even people who didn't know what Astronomer was suddenly had a strong opinion about its leadership. But it wasn't just memes and jokes. People were angry. The fact that the woman in question was head of HR, the very person tasked with upholding workplace ethics, made it feel extra slimy. What message does that send to the rest of the employees? What happens to trust when the people in charge of enforcing boundaries are the ones breaking them? And then there was the public humiliation factor. Andy's wife wasn't just finding out about this from a private confession. She was watching it play out across the internet in real time. One minute you're checking social media, the next you see your husband and his coworker trending on TikTok with Coldplay in the background. And the worst part? It all could have stayed a secret if they had just acted normal.
If they had just smiled. If they'd played it cool. If Andy hadn't flopped into his seat like he'd been hit by a tranquilizer dart, maybe no one would have noticed. But their panicked reaction was the giveaway, and once the internet caught on, there was no going back. Reports started swirling that Andy's wife found out right along with the rest of us through the viral video. Not a call, not a confession, just Coldplay and the cold, hard truth, delivered by a stadium camera operator and broadcast to millions. Shortly after, online users noticed something chilling. His wife had deactivated all her social media. Instagram gone, Facebook scrubbed, no family photos, no statements, just silence. People started connecting the dots. This wasn't just a private affair. It was a full-on PR disaster. A married CEO caught cheating on his wife with an employee he technically oversees. Publicly. On camera, at a concert, and not just any employee, his HR chief. That's when the story shifted from just another cheating scandal to something far more serious. Because now people weren't just asking, did he cheat? They were asking, did he abuse his power? Was this relationship consensual or coerced in any way? What message does this send to every employee at Astronomer? The silence from Andy and Kristen only made things worse. With no official statement, no apology, no accountability, the internet filled in the blanks. And then the court of public opinion starts building its case. It never goes easy on the accused, especially when the accused just got exposed during Fix You. As the scandal gained momentum, a so-called statement from Andy Byron began circulating online. It looked polished, professional, regretful, the kind of apology you'd expect from a CEO caught in a mess of his own making. It started off sounding sincere, something about disappointing his wife, hurting his family, taking responsibility. But then things got weird. Midway through, the tone shifted. Suddenly, it quoted Coldplay lyrics. Yes, actual Coldplay lyrics. Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. Some people believed it. Others raised an eyebrow. And the deeper you looked, the more obvious it became this wasn't real. There was no official source, no press release, no confirmation from Astronomer or Byron himself, just a bunch of tweets and screenshots floating around in digital limbo. It had all the signs of being fake, maybe AI generated, maybe just trolling. But that didn't stop the internet from eating it up. And that's the thing about public scandal in the age of virality. Truth doesn't always matter. The memes, the fake quotes, the jokes, sometimes they spread faster than the facts. And if you don't speak up, your silence becomes the punchline. So far, Andy Byron has said nothing. Kristen? Also silent. And whether they're staying quiet to protect themselves, consult lawyers, or wait for the storm to pass, every hour of silence only tightens the noose. Because when you're caught red-handed on a Jumbotron, the internet doesn't wait for your version of the story. It writes its own. Behind the scenes, the fallout may be even worse than what we're seeing online. Because this isn't just some random office affair. It's a potential corporate nightmare. Andy Byron is the CEO. Kristen Kabat is his chief people officer, the very person responsible for company culture, ethics, and enforcing HR policy, is allegedly involved in a secret relationship with her boss. That's not just bad optics. It's a textbook conflict of interest. Imagine being an employee at Astronomer right now.
You're told to follow strict workplace policies, take harassment training, sit through meetings about professionalism, while the CEO and head of HR are sneaking off to Coldplay concerts? That's not just a scandal, it's a legal liability. Whispers have already started online. People are speculating. Will the board force Andy out? Will Kristen be let go quietly? Our NDA is already being drafted behind the scenes. And the deeper issue? Power imbalance. This wasn't just two colleagues dating. One of them literally has hiring, firing, and disciplinary power over the rest of the company. If this was going on behind closed doors, what else has been swept under the rug? Whether or not the affair was consensual in a personal sense, there are professional boundaries that should never have been crossed. Period. And now, Astronomer has to deal with more than just bad press. Trust is broken, morale is shot, and their leadership team looks like a joke. If they don't make moves, and fast, the company's reputation could go down right alongside its leadership. Because in 2025, no one forgets a scandal that started with Coldplay and ended with corporate chaos.
In the age of virality, your worst mistake isn't just private, it's public property. What happened to Andy Byron isn't just about a man cheating on his wife, it's about how quickly the internet turns real life into a spectacle. One awkward flinch on the Jumbotron, and suddenly you're trending. Your name, your job, your marriage, your mistress, all dragged out in front of millions. There's something surreal about it. This wasn't a leaked video or a whistleblower expose. It was a stadium kiss cam moment that turned into a corporate implosion. A Coldplay lyric playing in the background, and boom, your entire double life becomes a meme. But here's the question. Where do we draw the line? Should a moment like this, embarrassing but technically private, become fuel for global humiliation? Is it fair to the family watching it unravel in real time? Or has social media blurred the line between accountability and voyeurism? At the same time, people aren't just reacting to the affair, they're reacting to the hypocrisy. A CEO who preaches leadership and family values while sneaking around with HR? That's not just a personal failure, it's a betrayal of trust. And when your leadership affects hundreds of employees, stockholders, and careers, you don't get to claim privacy when you break the rules you enforce. So maybe the real story isn't about cheating. Maybe it's about power, visibility, and the internet's role in forcing accountability when institutions stay silent. Because in this digital age, it's not the affair that ends you, it's getting caught in 4K. Andy Byron thought he was just another face in the crowd, safe in the shadows at a Coldplay concert, away from prying eyes. But the Jumbotron had other plans. That split-second exposure turned a private indiscretion into a public spectacle, unraveling not just a marriage, but shaking a company's foundation. In today's world, one viral moment can undo years of reputation, leaving nothing but questions, rumors, and shattered trust. So here's the takeaway. Whether you're a CEO, an employee, or just someone trying to keep your secrets safe, remember, there's always a camera, a witness, or a Jumbotron waiting to expose the truth. And when that happens, there's no fixing it. Because some things just can't be unseen.